Okay, now what we want to do is we want to add a little bit more design here. Maybe what we could do is we could add some lines, some designs here to add more details and just kind of bring it all together. And we can do that by masking a portion of the strap that we have here and extract it out. So let's go to sculpt mode, going to masking, and make sure you have turned on front faces so you're not masking the back of this piece. And I also just want to go ahead and kind of move this up. That way I could see more of the strap here. Alright, so masking. And okay, gonna mask this here. Go. And good. Mask this area out. You need to make the brush size smaller to make it easier for you. Go ahead and do that. And also here, and maybe here. We could mask out the vertical piece going this direction later, but for now let's do this part first. And also we could mask out like a little piece of this here and here. And also here. Kind of hard to see, so we could do object mode and isolate that, and then back on sculpt mode. Okay, so we want to kind of mask this out so we get a piece of this on the side. Also here, mask this area out, get a piece of this here. Here, here, and here. Just color that in, this in, and also this. We could also add like some details on around this area. Yeah, so I'm gonna go show the body and everything else. So I wanna add like some kind of design here also at the back, so we don't want it to like look too plain. So okay, like this, and here. And also here and here. Yep, something like that. And of course, we gotta make sure that we also have some of that side. Paint that side out. So around this area, just color that in. And let's not forget this, and right here. Great. Now we could go and extract that mask max extract and make sure you turn off as solid. There you go. And if we shift H to isolate, there it is. Okay, so it looks like there's some parts that are extracted that's not supposed to be extracted, like this right here. So I'm just gonna delete the faces there. Delete those faces. And what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna select this part and I'm gonna separate that. P and then separate. I think it's just gonna be easier to sculpt this piece and then later go back to that. It's gonna be easier to manage. Alright, so if we go look here, select this part. Now we're not gonna add thickness yet. We're going to smooth out the edges. Okay, so let's go to smoothing. Let's go and just smooth this out before we do any type of extrusion. That way it's gonna be a lot easier to manage this. Also here, smooth that out, and here. Yeah, I don't really want to touch the edges here too much, so just around this area. There you go. And let's go to object mode, hit the tab key, press A. And actually you could go to show everything first. Alright, and select this. Hit the tab key. Alright, actually I'm gonna go to faces. Select all the faces. And Alt E and extrude along faces, normals. Alright, so maybe, okay, you don't want it to be that thick, maybe something like that. So that's going to be 0.0145 feet. So I'm going to copy this because I want the same thickness for the other side. Okay, great. And same for this here. I'm going to select this. Actually, I'm going to isolate it first and go to sculpt mode. And I want to, once again, kind of like what we did on the other side. Okay, kind of got lost there. There you go. Yeah, we want to smooth out the edges around this area. With that, this one too. Yeah, just everywhere here is smooth these. Okay, and go to object mode, hit the tab key, press A to select everything, and of course Alt E on your keyboard to extrude along face. Extrude faces along normals. And we can just go ahead and paste what we had. There you go. So it's going to be the exact same thickness as the other side. Great. Now, we got that there. What we could do is we could go to sculpt mode. We need to kind of clean this up a bit. So first, we go to voxel size and decrease the voxel size before we remesh it. Maybe 0.03 and remesh that. Let's see if that'll work. Oops, that's way too low. Too much low poly. So we want to decrease the value so we have more polygons. Maybe 0.005. Let's try that. Maybe not. Maybe a little lower so we have more geometry. 0.003. And let's try that. So it's just trial and error. I think 0.003 is a sweet spot there. Yeah, you might want to mess around with yours. Yours might not be the exact same voxel size as mine, so definitely mess around with that. And just smoothing this side. Smoothing that on the side. Okay, maybe kind of move this down, move up, fix that a bit. Same here, just gonna fix that up. And let's not forget this here. Gonna smooth it and gonna move it. Hey, something like that. And we could also go ahead and check this one out. Go sculpt mode, and for this one we could put 0.003 and remesh that. Gonna go and remove the material that's included there. Just gonna remove that. Okay, just select this. Okay, just like that, and then remove it, the material. So I don't really want to see it in purple. And just gonna smooth this side out. And of course, you could always use the grab brush to just kind of fix this. We're gonna make this a lot cleaner when it's time for us to do more topologizing. But it's good to have kind of like the overall shape right now. I guess I would call this more of a rough sketch, and then later when it's time for us to topologize, that's when we get more of the better, cleaner details. Okay. Yeah, I would say this is more like, I guess, somewhat of a concepting stage where you could see, get a fast design of how the overall character would look. And then of course you're going to refine this. Now I also want to add the lines here, so we could kind of see how that would look like. So I'm gonna go to sculpt mode, and you can see that there's some masking there. Alt M to unmask that. So maybe I could grab like maybe something here to work with. Yep, something like that, maybe not so thick. Okay, and I'm gonna go mask extract. Yeah, it's fine. Extract is, yeah, turn off extract solid. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to sculpt mode. And I'm gonna go, right now the move tool's all the way over there for this geometry, you can see that. So I'm gonna go set origin to geometry. There you go. And just gonna move that out. And I'm gonna go to sculpt mode and just gonna go to smoothing and just smooth out edges here. Alright. Now, good. Go. And gotta move this up. Maybe you can go apply and I'll transform, see how that looks. Yeah, I think it's best that we just set it to origin. And what we could just do is we could go to our sculpt mode. And we could just kind of grab it. Do some grabbing. Fine. Alright. And then kind of do this here and here. We could mask out maybe this area and go to the move brush and then just gonna move this down. Here you go. Like that. And same here, just gonna move this down. And unmask that. I'm just gonna move it and move this like that. Now you can go to object mode, isolate that. Maybe we could do a little trimming here. You could trim that later. Let's hit the tab key, press A on your keyboard, and we're going to Alt E, extrude along normals, extrude that out. So put the same value as we had before. I think it's 0.0145 about. Yeah, something like that. Okay, and then unhide everything. So we got this here. Cool. Now we could go to sculpt mode, 0.003, and then go ahead and remesh that. So I got a little, I think I want to bring it lower, 0.001, and remesh that. And smooth it a little bit, and going to object mode and isolate this, and you could go to sculpt mode. So maybe you could do a little trimming. You could trim this part out. There you go. And also this part you could trim here. You don't need this here. We could remesh that. There you go. And then just gonna smooth. There you go. And just gonna move this down and move this, something like that. Okay. And you can duplicate this, Shift D to duplicate it right there. Like that. Could maybe rotate it a bit. And we could duplicate this on the other side. Shift D. And I'm gonna move that out. Right. So maybe I could go to sculpt mode and just kind of pull that out. There you go. That'll be a lot easier sometimes to do that. Maybe could mask that and then move this down using the grab brush. Once again, mask this, Control I to invert, go into the grab brush and just kind of move this. It's not gonna work. Just gonna move this here. Okay, not so concerned of this right now. Okay, and I'm gonna duplicate that. There you go. So we got a little like something to look at right now. See. Okay, so maybe later on when we make the refined version, it's gonna be more like this. Yeah, there you go. And maybe this one here could probably be more like this. Right. Okay, so we got something going on there. And what we could also do is we could go to each of these and maybe we could like add a little bit of design for each of those, something like that. So that could work as part of our concept there. Could probably, this could also be the same thing. Control J to combine those. We go sculpt mode and interface sets by materials. So turns gray. Okay. And so maybe later on this could be added. Yeah, something like that would be great. And it will be the same on the other side here, where we could have a little bit of that type of detail. I guess maybe that could work. Maybe this would be like a nail. I don't think. Yeah, not sure why this is not. Okay, I think I know what could be the issue with this one, why I'm not able to sculpt. Here, maybe I could go to my face orientation. Aha, so I'm not able to sculpt here because this is like the normals is an issue. So I could select this area, press L to select. Let me just turn off the face orientation. So I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna hit the tab key, press L, and I'm gonna go to face, meshed, normals, and flip. There you go. So now if I go to my face orientation, alright, so it's no longer red. So now if I go to sculpt, I should be able to sculpt here and see. There you go. So if you see something like that, maybe if you're not able to sculpt on the side, sculpt on the surface because you have flip normals that are not facing the right direction. So just kind of flip the normals there. Yeah. So this is just to see what we're working with. Alright, and that's our belt. So another thing we could do here is we could create a spacing in between the skull and the buckle, and then we're gonna add like a torus here that connects these two together, because later on we are gonna be creating a chain that hangs from this torus on down. So there is a chain on our arc here, and it goes all the way from here and on down, connecting to this part. So we probably also have to create like a torus here and create a spacing there, maybe connecting this belt onto this belt, and then we have like a torus there. Yeah, something like that would be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna just work with this here. I'm gonna select this strap and I'm gonna go to sculpt mode, and you can see that I have something masked there already. So I'm gonna Alt M on my keyboard to get rid of that masking. I'm gonna go to my lasso mask, and I'm just gonna go ahead and mask the area out that I want to get rid of. So I want to get rid of this one because I want like a little spacing here. At the same time, we got to check the back too. We don't want to get rid of this here, so holding Control and unmask. All right. Okay, and then we could go to mask, slice and fill holes. All right, so we got a spacing there. And we could do the same thing for this piece here. We go to sculpt mode and I'm gonna unmask what I had previously masked there. And I'm gonna go back to my lasso tool and I'm gonna mask this area out that I want to remove, this geometry. And make sure you look at the back, make sure you're only masking what you actually want to remove. I'm gonna unmask this. Make sure you look all around, be very careful. And I'm gonna go to mask, slice and fill holes. Okay, good. And gotta create a torus there, but before I do that, I wanna kind of do the same thing on the other side here. So I'm going to go ahead and, okay, so I want to create like a torus here also. So I'm going to just mask this area out. Actually, I'll do that later after I create the torus for this part. I think we could just create the torus for now. And then that way we could duplicate the torus that we have here and put it on this side. And then we could remove some of the geometry here. I think that will be a lot more accurate to do that. Okay, so I'm gonna Shift A and create a torus. And just gonna go ahead and rotate that down 90 degrees. And I'm just gonna go ahead and scale that, put it here. It's gonna be smaller than the skull. We don't want it bigger than the skull. And for this, gonna just move it back. And just gonna just rotate it like that, and then just gonna move it back again, something like that. So it's kind of like the strap is like holding on, the strap is holding on to that torus. Something like this, and probably could move it back a little bit more. I'm gonna rotate this. Okay, something like that. And what we could also do is duplicate this. Shift D and then scale that down. It's going to be a smaller version, and this is actually going to connect the torus to the actual skull here, which would make more sense as far as functionality goes. So these are all going to be like made out of metal, something like that. Okay, and then you could make a copy of this and actually put it on the other side. We're gonna put it right here. Oh, careful not to rotate anything. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make a copy. Shift D. I'm gonna go ahead and just move it back and put it here. And right there. And of course, gonna rotate this. Maybe move it back some more. And just a little bit of rotation. So I want gonna maybe move it down a bit like that. And like that. Probably gonna move it back, something like that. A little bit, rotate it a bit more. Careful. All right. And I guess gonna move it back a tad bit. Probably could move it down. Okay, so maybe something like that would be fine. And we could make a little bit of cut. So I could go to my sculpt mode here. Actually, I want to hide this first. Hide this one. so we could create a more accurate cut. So I'm gonna go back to sculpt mode and make sure I unmask Alt M, make sure nothing is masked, and then I'm gonna, because what I wanted to do is I wanted it to kind of look like this is holding on to the shape of the torus, and also this is kind of like holding to the shape of the torus. So I want to get rid of this geometry. So going to my line here, my line project. Actually, I'm gonna go to my masking. Yeah, going to my lasso masking again, and going to mask this area out. Something like this. Yeah. Probably like that. Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna go to mask. And also make sure that you're only masking what you're supposed to. I'm going to hold control and unmask whatever's on the front, because remember this front is also included with this is like the same piece. So I want to make sure nothing in the front is masked. And I'm going to go to mask, slice, fill holes. Okay, great. We got something like that now. And we could also just go ahead and remesh this. Okay, so I can remesh that. Oops, that's I think I need to make this a little bit lower in polygon, so 0.004 and remesh. There you go. That should be better, and I smooth it. There you go. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this one right here. Yeah, I'm gonna go to sculpt mode. I'm gonna go to my actually I want to go ahead and hide this here. Okay, and I'm just gonna rotate this a bit. There you go, something like that. All right, and then I'm gonna go to sculpt mode, go to lasso, and I'm gonna make sure, yeah, right now I just want to go ahead and mask the area out here. It's going to get removed. Something like this. And I'm gonna make sure that nothing here in the front is masked. So I'm gonna hold control and unmask this area out. Be very careful. And I'm gonna go to mask, slice, fill holes. And once again, I'm going to just remesh this. I'm gonna set it to the same value as the other one, 0.004. And Control R to remesh that. Okay, and let's smooth this. Could make the smooth brush higher in intensity, and I could move this down. There you go, like that. Okay, we have a little bit of something going on. Probably for this one, could go and bring this down a bit. This up. Okay. And yeah, that'll be fine. Probably could connect this one and this one, Control J to combine those, and then go to sculpt mode, and actually you want to set this to face hats by materials, so it turns gray again. All right, so it makes a little bit more sense to do this here. Okay, great. And I want to go ahead and I actually want to separate them again. So I don't want to be accidentally remesh these and fuse them together. So I want to separate them again. Hover my mouse over here, press L and select that. And this one also, press L. There you go. And press P and separate by selection. There you go. So now they're separate piece again. As you can see, separate piece. Okay, great. Right, so we kind of have that thing going.